on the Storm. Today we are joined by Ajay Bijli, the man who has revolutionized movie making and movie viewing in India. Ajay, many thanks for joining us
Thank
here.
you for having me.
Well, speaking of storms, we're now hit by the coronavirus. How significant a hit do you anticipate on account of that? I mean, we've already seen the Bhan film now being pushed. The release of that has been pushed. But specifically for India, what do you believe the impact is likely to be?
Well, firstly, Bond gets its collections. All US movies get their collections largely from China, Japan and South Korea. India is a significant market, but not as big as these markets. So I think the Indian film industry, according to me, should not get impacted by what's happened to Bond, because Indian films still end up playing primarily in the Indian cinemas, and a little bit of they address the diaspora outside.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, very big movie is releasing.
The litmus test.
Yeah. Tomorrow is Baghi 3, which, believe it or not, is a very big franchise. The advances are good. And so our business continues to remain content-driven. And if it does well tomorrow, I think no shift will happen. Nothing has been announced as yet, even after the Bond push back to November now.
Yeah.
But let's see what happens. But these are environments which are
unpredictable and
unpredictable.
uncertain.
It's an aberration,
Sure.
which is happening just now.
So while you don't anticipate a shifting in terms of the cycle that producers are working with, what are you seeing in terms of footfalls? Are you seeing any cancellations already, or do you believe that it might take a while before people start to react to this, especially given the fact that, there are advisories out now telling people to maintain social distances and so on and so forth? Do you expect that that will start to impact footfalls?
You see, it's difficult to tell, but yes, it can impact footfalls, but I think it still is an aberration, because obviously nobody has ever experienced anything like this. Obviously, safety, security and health of our patrons is more important than business. So we'll go by what guidelines are given to us. Currently, I'm not seeing any impact, because as I said, it's content driven. Content hasn't been very good in the last 2 weeks, I would say. So it's hard to tell what's going on. Is it content? Is it coronavirus?
Yeah.
But I think, long term, the fundamentals of the business still remain strong. But yes, short term, there could be a 30 to 60 day phenomena if people become very circumspect of stepping out. And we totally respect that, appreciate that, because the environment is very extraordinary at the moment, and people are not traveling. They don't want to, even when you greet each other.
Don't want to shake hands either.
Nobody's shaking hands. So these are unusual times.
Yes.
And I guess, but I remain a born optimist. I believe that this is a tide which will also go away. And the fundamentals of the business are very strong. 1,500-1,600 films get through the system every year in India, and 1.65 billion tickets get sold. People love going to movies, love going to go out. So people are resilient.
I'll come to the fundamentals of the business in just a second, but one quick follow-up question on how you're coping with the coronavirus, for instance. I mean, advisories have been sent out to schools, to airlines, the aviation regulators monitoring what airlines are doing. But what kind of preemptive action are you, for instance, taking to combat this?
Well, I took a leaf out of what Singapore Airlines did. And that's what we've done. We've been very careful in communicating to the consumers what they should be doing. We put sanitizers, disinfectors everywhere. Our own people, they're wearing masks everywhere. And of course, the back of the house also matters, where they change, where the food happens. We're making sure there everything is clean, hygienic, and, sanitizer there. Even in toilets, in front of the house, box office, concession stands, everywhere. We're making sure disinfectants are there on the seats, and cleaning is happening much more thoroughly, and sanitizer are available. So obviously, as a responsibility of any corporate, it's important to make people aware. People are already aware, but we should tell them that our establishment is also sensitive to that nobody should get any infection or anything like that.
Right. Let's move away from the coronavirus, and now let's talk about the fundamentals of the business. And only because we don't really know at this point in time, where we're all grappling with answers. But what is the outlook now in terms of consumer spending outside of what the virus does? But it has been a sluggish economy. It has impacted discretionary spending. So how are you seeing the consumer spending environment panning out?
Look, I can only talk about my business, and our business exhibition hasn't got impacted at all, and I'm not saying it just like that. I mean, pre this whole coronavirus issue, movies were coming, people were coming out and watching films, eating more on F&B, advertisers are advertising. If you look at our Q3 results, everything is up compared to last year Q3. It happens in recessionary times. There are a lot of other things that people eliminate from their discretionary spending. It could be going out on holidays. it could be buying luxury items or even items, cars and stuff like that. But this is still a very small ticket price, you know, about outing will cost you 1,000 rupees, 1,500 rupees, because the average ticket price still in India is about 125. People only have that perception of what is the weekend pricing in a prime demographic cinema, but that's not the ATP, the average ticket price of the country. So people do go out and they say, I can't do anything else, let me go and watch a movie. So we saw that people were still coming out as long as the content is good. And the content has been very good. There have been a lot of sleeper hits, what I call. It doesn't have to be a big blockbuster movie. Smaller films like Ayushmann Khurrana's movies and Rajkumar Rao's movies. Smaller films have done very well. Even a movie like Kabir Singh. So the Hrithik Roshan movie Super 30. So I'm finding that people are getting out, they want to get entertained. It's a lifestyle need gap to get out and entertain yourself in India.
So which is why you don't believe that the Netflix and the Amazons of the world are going to hurt your business or eat into your pie, because you believe that this is an experience and it's a lifestyle experience, it's a choice that people want to make. So you don't still foresee any significant disruption on account of the OTT players?
Well, obviously, one has to be always on his toes and you shouldn't be too complacent, but OTT hasn't impacted. In fact, all studies are showing a positive correlation between OTT and cinema going. The same people who are consuming long-form storytelling. So I call whatever's happening on Netflixes and Amazons of the world long-form storytelling, which is like Narcos, 13 episodes, 26 episodes, Crown and all. People are watching that as well, and the same consumers are also going out and watching movies. So it's not cannibalizing to that level. Monday to Thursday, kids who have time will get out and watch movies. People who are working will not go Monday to Thursday, but they'll go Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So their consumption of OTT platforms will happen over the weekend. Kids will happen the other way around. So we are finding that people are consuming a lot of content, but this short form storytelling is more experiential. People go out, they want to be with their friends, they eat before and after. So luckily, all over the world, China has grown by 14% every year. Box office has reached $9.2 billion. India has reached $1.6 billion, 12% growth. US in the last 5 years, from about, I think, 11.2 billion has reached almost 12 billion in box office collections. And 5 years has been where the OTT penetration has been the highest. And in India, actually, Hotstar is got many more subscribers than Netflix has got. So you know all. So basically, I don't see, people are treating both forms of entertainment very differently. Only overlap happens when somebody makes an Irishman, for example. But then too much money is left on the table, because still 60% of the revenues of any content that gets created, small content, I mean movies basically, comes from theatrical. So now people are saying, you know what, should we be releasing straight away on the OTT platform? Or only for the statute, only for the Oscar statute? Or should I also be looking at the consumer who wants to go out and watch a movie made by Martin Scorsese, he's got Pacino, De Niro on the big screen? Of course, it can be a little shorter. And so therefore, I'm finding that even I think, in my view, and even Tim Richards, who the chairman of View Cinemas, runs 1,800 screens recently, he also made this announcement that it could be that Netflix is a big studio. They'll continue to make long-form series and TV shows, but the content that they're making, only movies, they may look at, should look at least, releasing it theatrically as well.
Well, that's
the best
hope,
position.
isn't it? That is the hope for the likes of you.
Absolutely.
But you know, since you talked about screens and you talked about 1,800 screens, your target and aspiration of 1,000 screens by 2020, on track to meet that plan?
Well, tomorrow we're opening 11 more screens, so we'll become 841. And we have, at any given time, 120 odd screens under fit out. So 2021 is what we're looking at.
So you've pushed it now to 2021?
Yeah, 21.
Okay. And
I haven't pushed the 1,000 screens.
Anthony Waste Handling Cell Limited, one of the top 5 players in the Indian